Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Combat Sports UK YouTube channel. Look who it is, Akonne the Jedi Wanliss is back on the show. Akonne, how are you, brother? Always great to see you, mate.
I'm really good, man. I'm ready to unleash the force. You know, I'm itching. Since the last fight, it was only, 6 weeks ago? And I'm still very itching to get out there and unleash the force. I only had 48 seconds of performance last time, but hey, if it ends up being another 40-second performance, then I won't complain.
Hey, and look, if there's one area in life where you want to be quick under a minute, it is the sport of MMA, right?
Yeah, you don't get paid for overtime. You know, you don't want to be shooting quick in other areas of life. But in MMA, you get it done quick.
You get it done quick. Before we talk about this fight, that's the 8th of June, obviously out there, Eden Stadium, Octagon 58. I want to flip back. 6 weeks must feel like a decade ago to you, but still 6 weeks to the Shiraz fight. I mean, obviously we talked kind of in the aftermath of everything that happened with, you know, his team getting all up in you and changing everything around, fighting in Birmingham. How good was it to go out there, get the job done, just like you said you would, flip those gaffer cakes on people's head and get everything done? How good was it to put that chapter to bed after all the drama and everything that was going on?
Listen, for 6 weeks after that event, after Reza attacked me, 6 weeks on, I didn't just have Reza in my DMs. Siraj was talking all this rubbish, but he had so much supporters. I said it in my YouTube channel. If you have a look at it, I was like, damn, he's got a lot of followers, man. He's got a lot of supporters. Fair play. And I'm telling you, every time I commented something, there was like 30 comments saying, he's going to die, blah, 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 what he thought, they're all going at me. And I'm telling you, when I finished him in 48 seconds, first of all, you know, fight's a fight, whatever, yeah. But he got annihilated, and there's nothing they could say or come back at other than saying, oh, he should be banned for being disrespectful and all that sort of stuff, which was just like sweeter than my first box of Jaffa cakes. It was just a beautiful moment. This was like, what are you going to say now? I'm undeniable. I told you I'd beat you, boy. I wasn't just chatting shit, you know what I mean? And yeah, it was hella sweet, but there's a lot of salt still going on to this day, and people still DM me randomly. Oh, I'm gonna, you know, send in their other Afghan brother, this Wahil, I can't remember his name is, Wahil. He beat Banik last, but it's all crazy talk. It's nuts.
Yeah, and talk about kind of the sequence itself. It looked, from when I was watching it, really quick. Like I didn't quite pick up the first time that it was that hook that caught him. Did you kind of feel that coming straight out, like as quickly as it did, or you know, how did the fight go from your perspective, from a technical point of view?
Well, from a technical point of view, I thought he was going to come out and be more technical, but he just kind of like let the emotions get over the top of him, and it just started to run at me with no regard to any of my power, my skill, my poise. Like he didn't see that I got the force, that I'm the master of the force. He kind of was blinded by the dark side, as we would say, and he just walked into the shot. I hit him with the right hand. You should have recognized as a well decorated striker. You should have recognized that I got the range on him. Hit him twice with the right hand, and then the left hook followed and just finished him off and put him out for a good 15 minutes. He didn't know where he was.
Yeah. It was a really, really big knockout, and one that you promised as well. And that, you know, obviously the no contest aside, that's your second win in Octagon in the first round. Do you feel like you're very settled in the promotion now, and do you feel like your name's out there in terms of the roster, and people are kind of looking at it thinking, oh, maybe that's not a fight I want? Obviously you're in the tournament, but you feel like you're kind of like feared within the tournament, right?
Well, I feel like people that actually sit down and know MMA, they would fear me anyway. But you know, like it's all talking. Obviously, Siraj was saying I'm not a fighter. Banik said I'm not a fighter. I'm just a stripper. You know, Golgachaki, I don't know what he said, but he didn't say too much. But it's just alone the performances in Octagon. Even Banik, I'll take that as a victory. Whatever, he took the short way out. But whatever, that fight's been and gone. I do feel like if you're smart and you got some sense about you, you would look at me and say I'm a very dangerous opponent. If you're looking past me, you're walking into dangerous territory. And I say it again, don't underestimate the power of the dark side. Don't underestimate the power of the force. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, absolutely, absolutely. And the interesting thing about this tournament, you kind of got, your Lassine Keita, for example, right? Where do you see yourself fitting in right now that we're in this kind of second round? Do you see yourself as a bit of almost a dark horse? Do you see yourself as one of the favorites? Where do you see yourself fitting into the bracket as it is at the moment?
I see myself as a champion. I see myself as the person from the moment I signed to be in the Tipsport Gamechanger. I see myself as being the champion and beating everybody who's on that list. I already thought about. It's kind of crazy how it potentially could line up. Siraj, Legierski, potentially Keita, and then potentially Paradis. I take all of them out. Absolutely undeniable. So if it ends up that way, then it's not a surprise to me, and I'm well prepared, ready to unleash the force when the time comes.
Yeah, for those that have followed you since obviously you were fighting outside of Octagon, it wouldn't be a surprise at all. The tournament itself, how does that impact on you as an athlete? Right, obviously, MMA it's one of those sports where you can't perform every single weekend, right? Like your traditional sports like football, rugby, etc. But it's intense, right? You're just saying now 6 weeks from the Birmingham fight, then you've got this fight, and you win, you've got another 2 this year. So how do you kind of strategically plan that out yourself within camp and things like that?
Just by taking one fight at a time. If you try and overload yourself with, oh my God, I got this, I got that, the other fights don't exist without you winning the first fight that's ahead of you. So if you just focus it kind of like mini camps, this camp is for Siraj, this camp is for Legierski, this camp is for whoever, blah, blah, blah. But I have to, like I always say, the next opponent is always the most dangerous opponent. That's the person who's in front of me. That's the person that can stop me from progressing in my career. That's the person that could stop me from getting this victory. So that's the person I have to focus on. So that's how I kind of dissect the whole year, really. And it's just great to be active like that because I love the process. I love being in the mix of training for a fight and being in camp. I love that. That's what That's what wakes me up in the morning and sets me on fire. That's what I'm passionate about by training and growing my skills in mixed martial arts, and then having to have a fight at the end of the camp is exactly what you want, right? You want to fight. It's a short career. Get as many fights as possible, and if I can make the biggest and the best fights and have the most spectacular performances and make the most money, leave a great legacy, then hey, I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah, the Tipsport Gamechanger is a tremendous opportunity to do that. Just the last part on the camp side of things, like you mentioned there, it kind of becomes a bit more individual as opposed to with your longer camps where you might throw in some skill acquisition there, where you might try and pick up a few new things. Is the balance much different to a normal camp? Is it a lot more centered around who you're going to face rather than, okay, I need to iron these things out? Like, do you change up the percentages, that kind of thing?
It depends on how much time you have. Like obviously between the Siraj and the Legierski fight, it's just kind of like just a quick camp back to back. But if you think really, I've kind of been in camp, like this is third camp in a row because obviously I was preparing for Siraj, and then we had the incident, and then I prepared for Siraj again. Then I finished him in 48 seconds, been able to roll over quickly, and now all that momentum is coming in versus Legierski. So it's just kind of those things where I guess I didn't have to worry about my weight because I already made weight twice already. So my weight's on point. And then, my fitness, it's on point. I've been sharp that time. And then now it's just like, honing in them skills like I do every single fight camp, making sure every stone is unturned. And, if you leave a stone sitting for too long, there's moss. Moss grows on top of it. But there's been no chance for any of my skills to have moss to grow on top of them because I'm just in camp. So there's definitely a pros to it and definitely cons. Obviously, the cons, you have to make sure you train smart. You can't be like constantly having like big, heavy, massive like spars, like 15, 16 round spars and stuff like that, knocking each other out because you save that for the fight. You know what I mean? So that's the only really sort of adjustment, but I've done that throughout my career. anyway. As especially with Renegade, we're not like a meathead gym. You know, you see like Leon's very technical and for the whole of us.
Yeah, the skills and levels that come out of that gym just blow me away every time I see someone kind of come out of that gym, and you know how legit they're going to be especially when with all the training and everything. So let's talk about Legierski. I mean, if you look at it resume wise, I would probably say is your toughest opponent today. You know, you look at what he's done in Octagon, the streak that he's on. He's a real kind of he's a really, really tough fight. Do you see that in him, and do you see this as your toughest test, or do you see it kind of a little bit differently to that?
Yeah, I definitely see it as the toughest test because he's the next opponent, you know. Like I said before, every single person the next person I'm fighting is the most dangerous person. The person who I fought before and took out, won or lost, it doesn't matter about them. The people I'm about to fight, it don't matter about them. It only matters about who's in front of me. So Legierski is the most dangerous person I have right now. But, you know, obviously on paper, it shows that he's like number one, and it shows that, you know, he could be the most dangerous person. But stylistically, it's what I've had most of my career. Everybody wants to put a grappler next to me. I'm used to that prototype. It's going to be something that not going to be something that I haven't seen before, you know. And I look forward to going out there, unleashing the force like I normally do. And I got many weapons for that style. So I look forward to seeing what Legierski even brings to try and stop that.
Yeah, and one thing that's a massive advantage, I guess, is in most of your fights anyway. But it's inches. Now I'm talking about reach, obviously, not anything else before you get carried away. You've got a massive 6 inches, man. You know, do you think that's obviously going to play into it massively? But are you intending to kind of keep him on the end of that, especially use your kicking game within this fight as well to kind of keep him at that distance to avoid him trying to get into the wrestling quarter, so to speak?
Yeah, quite naturally, as a taller, longer, more handsome guy, I'm going to keep it at arm's length, you know. So I'm going to keep it at my range. I'm not going to fight Legierski at his range. Like, that'd be like, you know, any you know, athletes that are or MMA aspiring amateurs and stuff, or even pros just getting into the game. Keep your range, you know. Don't fight half your size. You know what I mean? If you've got long arms, or even if you're shorter, you know, don't fight in their range. Fight in your range. So I'm very good at that. I'm very good at fighting at my range, and I feel that's going to be a big test for Legierski himself to see if he can even get past that first range. He can't just walk in. If he's going to walk in, it's going to be a very short night.
Yeah,
you've seen what happens to Raj when you try and rush in and walk in, and Legierski likes to do that. So hopefully his coaches are beating into his head saying, "Don't walk with your hands forward like a zombie," because he will become a zombie real quick.
Yeah, and as kind of the competition does get tougher, like you say, you know, your next fight is your toughest fight. You've obviously got quite a few finishes round one recently. Would you obviously you want to get out as quick as possible, but do you want to kind of extend yourself that little bit more as well, just to almost kind of get that cage time, so to speak, for what might come later in the competition as things get a bit more difficult?
No, I have no preference. Like I prepare for the full 3 rounds, for the full 5 rounds. I'm a 5-round fighter. I'm a championship fighter, and if it doesn't go that way, then you know it's a quick night. You don't get paid for overtime. It's all good. It's all gravy. You've done your job. Do you know what I mean? There's many times I've kind of been annoyed of like, all that conditioning, all the cardio I've been doing, and I haven't been able to unleash it. But it is what it is. You know, I ain't gonna complain if I get the job done quick. You know, I don't look for it. I don't look for knockouts as much as knockouts and KOs I've got, as much finishes as I've got in the very first round. I don't look for them. They just come, you know.
And a massive part of this fight as well is the stadium, right? I believe it's 35,000. You obviously fought in Stanica last year in your Octagon debut. I mean, how big is that for you? Like fighting in front of a crowd that big with the kind of theatrics that you like to bring as well, if your clothes don't get stolen off you this time, like has happened previously. How big is that, being able to fight in front of a massive crowd?
Oh, it's absolutely epic. You know, as you said, I'm a guy that looks to come in and put a show from start to finish. And I've got something special for these fans. You know, 28,000 fans. Even though I know most of them probably going to be booing, but they're going to enjoy the show from start, middle, and end. You know, so I ain't going to tell you what I'm going to do, but I'm going to come with something. So don't miss the walkout.
There's always something special in that walkout. And yeah, so 28,000, sorry, I thought it was 35. And I mean, would that kind of wet your whistle a little bit for a little known event later in this year in a Frankfurt stadium? I mean, is that something that's on your radar?
100%. You know, I
Yeah.
get through Legierski, then why not put the semi-finals on their next biggest stadium? You know, 55,000. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean that's an unbelievable fight. So the other game changer fight on your card is Milos Petrasik against Kamil Wojciechowski. How do you see that one going? Any prediction for that?
Um, the other two game changer guys?
Yeah, because there's also Duque Makhachev on the card as well.
Duque and Makachev.
Yeah.
Ooh. I feel like Makachev gets it done, to be honest. Duque, he looked okay. He looked good, but I think I kind of fell asleep in them fights. You know, the fights that were preceding before the Fuku. I think the Duque fight. I don't think I was there at the event, but I was kind of said without being cocky or not cocky, but I was kind of like the best in Europe. I expected to see more polished skills.
Yeah.
So, you know, they got rid of a lot of them in the first round, but definitely now this next 8 and then going down to the next 4 is the best in Europe.
Yeah, my mistake. It is. Yeah, you're right. The Duque and Machev is the other one, and then the next card coming in July is Paradisa and Torres. You kind of alluded to earlier. Do you think Paradisa is going to get it done in that fight?
That's a tough fight, man. But I feel like Paradis is more well-rounded. Daniel Torres has got a big hole on the floor. Yeah, he comes in and swings hard as well. But Paradis is a good sharpshooter as well. You know, he uses his range, like I said before. He uses range that you need to use a range really well. He's one of them guys that does it, and he's in southpaw. I see him catching Daniel Torres, especially when Daniel Torres holds his chin in the air and starts swinging like he did against Lengal, which was. I thought, oh damn, Lengal's going to throw a Hail Mary and catch him, but he didn't. But then he took down Daniel Torres and held him, and Lengal's not really a grappler, but at least with that Paradis, he's got that in his arsenal. You know, you've seen him get some submissions, you've seen him control some people on the ground, and he's got size. Yeah.
Nice. And then the last one is Keita, obviously against Bogdanovic. Who do you fancy getting done in that fight?
I feel like Keita's poster smoked straight through him, but after seeing him with Saradani, if he gets taken to the floor, if Pedrag, so you say his name, Pedrag,
yeah, the first name. Yeah.
If Pedrag can take it down to the floor, he's definitely going to have more control than Saradini, you know. And I've seen him; he's like more of a tight grappler, more Mauler style. And if he gets around the neck of their Keita, it's going to be lights out. You know, he's good, but the stand up is a lot more worse than Saradini. So
yeah,
Keita is going to be very dangerous at the start of the fight, and if Pedrag can't handle that, it's going to be too much, and he's going to get run over. So I feel like he's going to lean more towards that Keita will get through that fight. He knows he doesn't want to be on the floor with Pedrag, and he'll definitely do everything he can to not be there. But also Pedrag knows he doesn't want to be on the feet with Keita and do anything he want to get down to the floor too. But seeing him fight Nafuku, I believe I'm leaning towards Keita.
Yeah, and I think you and Keita is a real appetizing fight. I mean, that's a really fun fight. Right, last little piece. I can't leave without chatting to you a little bit about Star Wars. Got a little game for you. We're going to do some word associations from Octagon fighters, and you've got to give me a word association with Star Wars. Could be anything. Could be a character, item, chip, whatever you think. So let's start off with your opponent, Legierski. What's the first word that comes to your mind, Star Wars related?
Star Wars related with Legierski. Young Padawan.
Young Padawan. Pavel Neruda.
Pavel. Credits.
That's amazing. Brian Lacey.
Brian Lacey. Brian Lacey. Man, he is Qui-Gon Jinn.
Qui-Gon Jinn, I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one. He should definitely grow his hair out. It would kind of suit him. Next one, Dennis Frimpong.
Calling him Jabba the Hutt is disrespectful to Jabba the Hutt. No, I mean Jar Jar Binks is disrespectful to the Jar Jar Binks. He's as ugly as Jabba the Hutt. Damn, yeah. So we call him the skinny Jabba the Hutt.
Skinny Jabba the Hutt. Carlos Vermola, top of the card, the champ in the light heavyweight division.
Carlos Vermola. Dark Trooper. He's like one of those. Those Dark Troopers that get deployed and get so strong.
Dark Trooper, amazing. And Akonne Wanliss, yourself.
The master of the Force. They need to make a character for him. You know what I mean? I need to just apply being one of the Star Wars films as the master, the master grey Jedi comes in and you don't know if it's good or bad. He just fucks some shit up. And then kill him off.
Exploring. Let's go. And finally, just a little prediction for Leon Bilal. Forget the name. How's that going to go down?
Leon continues where he left off and keeps barreling him. Just no eye poke this time, and he can't find a way out. And Leon just cleans him out, whether it's finish, submission, or gets him out. It goes all the distance and just dominates him. Leon does what he wants.
Nice one, my man. Well, listen, I'll throw over to you for the final word. Plug away anything you want. Shout out your team sponsors, etc., etc.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for having me here on the podcast and on the YouTube. If you want to check some more stuff out about me, then it's just Akonne Wanliss, at Akonne Wanliss across all my social medias. And thank you so much. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Go check out the YouTube channel of Akonne Wanliss. It is extremely entertaining. A lot of effort goes into that channel, and you're a tremendous personality. It's a pleasure, as always, to have you. So that is June 8th for OKTAGON 58, the Tipsport Gamechanger quarterfinals against Mateusz Legierski. So hopefully we're moving on into the semis later on in the year. Good luck with your fight, man. It's a pleasure to have you as always.
Thank you, man. Peace.
May the force be with you.